Welcome to the Large University's South Brunswick High School Alumni College Panel. I'm Mrs. Lucarello. I'm one of the school counselors at the high school. And the South Brunswick High School alumni students have volunteered their time to give back to the South Brunswick community in hopes to help you get clarification and inspiration during your college search and selection process right now. The questions you will hear have been gathered over the years through various college panel discussions held at the high school. If there is any question that you would like answered that's not discussed during our session, please see the link at the bottom of our South Brunswick High School Alumni College Panel discussion page. And we'll get started today by having each of our panelists introduce yourself by name, which school you're attending, your major, year in school or graduate school, and one thing that you have done on campus or do on campus. Anyone can start and we'll run through everyone.
Start first. Hi guys, my name is Anjali Sapra and I'm a junior majoring in computer science at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. One thing I do on campus is I'm captain of a Bollywood dance team.
Fun.
Hi everyone, my name is Nina Track. I'm a junior at Penn State University, majoring in public relations and Spanish. And on campus, I'm a resident assistant and administrative vice president of the Lion Ambassadors, which is our student alumni corps.
Hi guys, my name is Sarah. I graduated from Clemson University last May 2019 with a biological sciences degree, and I'm currently a first-year medical student at Campbell University. One thing I did at Clemson that was a lot of fun is I used to tutor for the student athletes.
Hi, my name's Rachel Hecht. I'm a junior at the University of Maryland. I'm double majoring in accounting and finance and minoring in Spanish. I'm a junior, and on campus, I serve as the vice president of human resources for my business fraternity, Phi Chi Theta, and I serve as the director of alumni relations and tradition for the Student Government Association on campus.
Hi, my name is Alfonso Buono. I'm a current junior at Rutgers University studying computer science and minoring in philosophy and math. A current thing that I do on campus is I am the philanthropy chair for my fraternity, Chi Phi, as well as I run Rutgers Hackathon HackerU.
Great, thank you everyone. So our first question, what was the main thing you were looking for when you were deciding on a college, and how did you make your final decision about where you wanted to attend?
I'd say for me, one of the main things I was looking for in a school was definitely pride. Coming from a big high school like South Brunswick, I knew that I wanted a university that was even bigger. Since we had the opportunity to go to a kind of small college-sized high school, I was looking to branch out. And something that was really important was going to a school where people were wearing blue and white on days that weren't game days, and people were really proud to be students there. And then what really helped me in making my final decision, I'd say, that pride aspect coupled with different opportunities that I had to interact with students and faculty at Penn State, I really got the sense that they were really interested in not only providing me opportunities, but also seeing what I had to offer the college. So that was something that was really exciting for me.
Something I was looking for, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You go.
So something I was looking for was lots of opportunities, similar to how Nina said. When I got accepted to Virginia Tech, I got accepted for the School of Engineering, and I got invited to be part of a living and learning community called Hypatia. And within that, I got a lot of professional development, and I was able to join many design teams, one of which I was able to go to NASA in Houston for. And those opportunities allowed me to get internships and expand my professional career and growth. So that was definitely something I was looking for.
I knew I wanted to go to a big school that kind of had the same feeling as a small school. So something that like really stuck out to me when I toured Clemson is all of the traditions that they had. And I loved that it was still a big school, but at the same time, I could walk from one end of campus to the other end in maybe 20 minutes tops. So I still had like that feeling of a big school, but it still felt small, and everyone is really supportive. I remember like a big thing we had was hashtag Clemson family. And I knew I wanted something with a big sports following, just because that's something that you're going to follow for the rest of your life. And I remember Clemson wasn't really even on my radar until I toured it. And I vividly remember like just looking into the football stadium. I saw the football team practicing. It was like a really cool experience. And like I said, another big thing for me about Clemson is all of the traditions that they had. Like we have a ring ceremony, which class rings are really, really big in the South. And they give it to us in a box that's cut down from a tree that came from Clemson. So like you always have a piece of Clemson with you. And we just have a lot of really cool things.
Okay. You guys already kind of shared, but is there anything else that was special about going to a large school?
Yeah, I think, I definitely think, since we like grew up going to a big high school, I knew I wanted that big feel in college. And what's really nice is that I think I've met someone new every single year, or every single semester, not even year of college. And there's just, it's so funny, like even people I've met this late into the year, like this semester, have made such an impact on my college experience. And you always get the opportunity to meet new people and even like try new things. There's so many clubs and so many organizations and so many different spots on campus that you can discover, which is just like really fun. And I think you can't really get that at a smaller school.
Okay. How did you know that the school that you are attending was the right school for you? I kind of answered that, but just elaborate.
Sure. So my dad actually went to Penn State. So I grew up going to Penn State and knew that it was something like, it was a place that I was really happy to be, but I didn't think it was somewhere that I could make my own. And like somewhere I saw myself for 4 years until I got to go to an accepted students program. And I know that that definitely looks a lot different right now for students who are watching this, just because of circumstance, but there's still so many opportunities to look for like virtual tours. I know that a lot of schools are doing virtual accepted students programs. So hearing more specifically about the university from the mouths of students who went there and who are currently living the experience was really important for me to understand that everyone's experience can be so unique. And I think especially at a large university, you're never going to find two people that have the same experience and that follow the same path. So once I really figured that out, and I think I got the advice too that you can make a large school small, but you can't make a small school big. And that has been so true. Like you can find your pockets on campus and on tours and even just in conversations, seeing that there was the opportunity to find those little pockets for myself is really what made Penn State feel like home even before I got there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like building on what Nina said, it's just like being at a large school, there's so many things to do at all times. So like like what Nina says, you can find your own pockets and kind of like build your own path, and being able to see all like the different varieties of what you can do and kind of just saying, oh, like I want to do that. Like you, like even today, like even now, like as a junior, like you can kind of still see like, oh, like someone's doing something that's like super interesting as part of like an outdoors club or like a fraternity or something like that. And you just see it and you're just like, I want to do that. And like you could just build your own story. And I think just having so many different like unique opportunities is really what drew me to Rutgers. And I don't know, like just it being also like so homey at the same time. Like it's like it's such a large school with like so many different campuses, and yeah, like the buses and everything like that everyone talks about. But at the same time, like you do kind of settle into one campus or even multiple ones, and it just does feel like home. Like there's just, it's such a large university, but at the same time, like it is like my home.
Great.
I think for me, going off of what Nina said about like pride, there's like not one person I know that goes to UMD that doesn't like going there. It's like everyone I've met that goes there says I love my school. They're not just like, yeah, I go here. And like seeing where my sisters went to school, they were never super, super pride filled about their school. They liked it, but they weren't like, I love it here. And I wanted to find a school where people loved it there. And I knew some people that went to UMD and they all like were obsessed with going there. So that's kind of, I was able to kind of become super passionate about my school because the people around me were super excited to go there, which I think is like really important.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about opportunities and seeking out opportunities. Is there any specific opportunity that you got involved in, or that you found helpful, or you took advantage of?
Yeah, so I worked as a welcome leader my junior year at Clemson, and basically what that was is I was assigned probably around 25 students, and I helped them transition in through like their first semester. We had scheduled activities, and I remember when I was a freshman, I thought it was really awesome to have like that one person that I could go to in such a big school. And one of my favorite activities that we actually did is they called it out of state connections. And so they had everybody from, the state of New Jersey that went to Clemson go to this one room at this one time. And I thought one of the coolest things that they told me there was that if you exclude North Carolina, New Jersey actually supplies the most out of state students to Clemson, which is so random because it's South Carolina, So I thought that was a really awesome thing. Like I already mentioned, I tutored for the student athletes, which was a really cool and rewarding experience in itself. Prior to doing that, I worked as a supplemental instructor, or what some schools now call peer assisted learning. And the reason why I wanted to transition into more privatized tutoring is because I liked having that one-on-one interaction instead of teaching these big sessions. But I thought that the supplemental instruction was a really great program to have as well. I know Clemson offered it for all of the classes that were high risk of DF or withdraw. You would have bi-weekly sessions that you could go to with a student who had previously made an A in the class. So that was another really awesome thing that they had. I know I personally didn't really take advantage of it just because I knew I was going to be going to graduate school, but I know that we've consistently had like one of the top 5 ranked career services in the country, which has been a big draw to a lot of people that I know toward there, just to know that you have those resources when you're looking to move on and look for a job someday. So we have a lot.
Like I said before, Virginia Tech has a lot of really amazing opportunities. And when I was in high school, I was always super busy. I was on the cheerleading team. I did multiple clubs. I had a lot going on. And I like being a busy person. So when I first came to college, I joined like almost every club I could think of. One of the first things was a living learning community for engineers. So it was called Hypatia, and it was just for women engineers. So I lived in a dorm with all of these girls who were also doing engineering, and I made a lot of my friends freshman year just through that. And it was really nice having that support system because engineering can be kind of hard. And so having people who are in similar majors as you, taking classes with you, and you can do homework with was really, really good. And on top of that, because I did like a lot of sports and like cheerleading in high school, I decided to go ahead and join the dance team when I came to college. And they immediately became my like family. It was a good way of making like the big school seem smaller by having people, in your culture doing something you love with you. And I've now grown to become captain of that team, and things like that. When you join an organization and stay in it for a while, you can start putting leadership positions on your resume, which will help you get like internships and other opportunities later on. So yeah.
I think for me, what's been most exciting is kind of joining organizations and then seeing like how you grow within those organizations. So me personally, I never thought I was the type of person that would have like a big leadership position in the organizations I was in. I just kind of thought I would be like a member, and just, not that there's anything wrong with that, but just kind of like float on by in the club or whatever I was in. But I noticed that I started taking different smaller positions, and then like people asked me to do larger positions, and I would always want to say no. And then I would say, okay, I'm just going to do it and see what happens. If like people want me to do this, they must see something in me. And every leadership position I've taken that's been like a step up has been so fulfilling. And I think, yeah, I guess that's like a piece of advice. Just take the opportunities you get, because often they end up working out like really well. And I think I've learned like a lot from each leadership position I have. And it's really fun to do a bunch of clubs and things like that. But I think it's also find what you like what you really like, and put all your effort into those things, because you can go really far. I feel like I've just stepped up and up in different leadership positions in organizations because I put so much into them.
Mm-hmm. That's good advice for just life in general, I have to say.
Yeah, and in terms of extracurriculars for me, the most exciting thing I've been a part of is actually something I joined this year in my junior year, which is Lion Ambassadors. And so what we do is we give tours on campus, so I'm able to share my Penn State pride. And then we also uphold a lot of our different traditions of the university. So it's been a really amazing opportunity to find a group of people on campus that are just as passionate, if not more passionate, about the things going on at Penn State and beyond, and to really be around people. That's another special thing about going to a large university, is that I'm able to surround myself with people who have completely different interests than me, and be able to learn so much from them. So that organization has provided a lot for me. And then beyond that, I'd say travel is something that I've loved about my college experience too. So I got to spend a semester abroad in Spain, which was really special for my Spanish major, but also just for me personally to grow and see a different part of the world. And then something that didn't get to happen this year, but will happen next year for me, is that I'll get to travel to the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics to report for the Associated Press with my college, with the College of Communications. And that's something I never would have imagined was going to be possible, but going to a university with a lot of funding for things like that, and a lot of different connections with our alumni network has made absolutely so much of a difference. And so there's so many different things that even in my last 2 years on campus, I've been able to take advantage of.
It's exciting. Switching gears a little bit and talking a little bit about your program that you're studying, thinking as a junior, how did you decide on what you wanted to major in, or what your focus would be?
So I entered college thinking I was going to do either engineering or business. And I took a calc engineering class, and I really didn't like it, and I knew that wasn't for me. And then I decided to focus my efforts on business. And I had taken an accounting class in high school with Miss Hunt, if anyone knows her. And I loved it. I'm just a very organized and go with the system and how the rules are type of person. So I found that accounting was super like that. It's super organized and structured. And not everyone is in love with their major, but find something that you like to do, because college is really gonna stink if you do something that you really don't enjoy, and you're not gonna have a good 4 years. So I found that I really do like accounting, where a lot of people don't. But yeah, just make sure you like what you're doing.
So I knew I wanted to go to med school forever. Which is why I ended up settling on a bio major. I mean, you really can go to just about any graduate school with any undergrad major, just as long as you hit those course requirements. For me personally, I just figured it would be easier to stick with the core major that would, have me get all of those course requirements. That doesn't mean that you're really, trapped in what you have to study. I mean, I tried really hard to take a few extra credits early on. So my senior year, I had a little bit more leeway to take some fun things. I took a couple semesters of sign language, just because that's a language that they offer for credit at Clemson, which was a lot of fun. And I mean, yeah, that's how I ended up as a bio major.
I think going into college, I did know I wanted to do tech. Or at least when I was there at South Brunswick, we're really lucky to have a lot of computer science classes, and that kind of did fuel my kind of appreciation and love for it. And then coming to Rutgers, seeing the community that exists there for computer science did kind of solidify that. There's literally just spaces on each or a couple of the different campuses where a lot of the computer science majors or engineering majors and stuff like that hang out, and they just do random techie stuff. We've made random LED boards that would show pictures of professors and stuff, stupid stuff like that is just entertaining for all of the students. And it just really did solidify the whole entire this is what I want to do with my life. I want to always learn the new tech that's coming out and kind of just appreciate it. But then for my two minors, math I just kind of went along with it because you do take a lot of math courses for computer science, but philosophy was something that I never knew I was gonna like want to do. And my freshman year, I took an intro to philosophy course, and then an intro to ethics course, and then I realized like, wow, like we have a really, really good philosophy department at Rutgers, like third or something in the world or something like that. And it's actually super interesting. So I think my recommendation is, yeah, you can have a course or like an idea of what you want to do when you come into college, and like, yes, try to like solidify that, or like think like, okay, this is what I want to major in. But like, don't be afraid to take random courses that like the school offers. That like does broaden both what you might learn about like the world, or just different topics, and you never might know what you will like end up falling in love with. And like philosophy was one of those things. I felt like it was just like a dumb kind of topic to kind of just like think about, like, oh, like what, these people sitting in a room like thinking about things, like, wow, like something like that. But then when you're actually kind of doing it, like I didn't realize how much I actually enjoyed it, and like the discussions that would come with it. So like my advice is just like try everything. Like large universities usually offer like such a wide range of courses because they have like the funding, and they have the amount of like professors and stuff like that. So like take advantage of that.
So something I wanted to mention was, growing up, I was always very passionate about like space and science. And in high school, I totally thought when I went to college, I was going to major in something like biomedical engineering. And when I applied to colleges, I applied to like different majors at every college. But my senior year, I did take a very intro to like Java programming class at SBHS. And I picked it up really fast, and I actually became like very interested in computer science. But I didn't necessarily want to let go of my like passion for science. So when I came to Virginia Tech, I found a design team called the Hokinauts, and we build augmented reality interfaces for spacesuits at NASA. And I thought that was a really cool way to bring together my love for space and science and my love for computer science. So my suggestion would be like, pick a major that best suits your skills and your talents and what you're good at. But don't think you're limited to that. You can always find a way to make your major apply to your passions. And so I found that through some of the design teams I joined, and going to a large university, you will have a lot of people who, diversify like their major with different applications. And I think exploring those opportunities is a great way to keep both your passions and your talents involved while you're in college.
I think that's a good point too. For me, Spanish, I always call it my fun major. And I went into college not expecting to major, but to minor, because of how much fun I had in high school learning Spanish with the incredible Spanish department that we have and all of my friends that took the classes with me. So I expected to at least take courses, and then with AP credits, and studying abroad, it ended up really working out that I would major in it. And so that's been honestly like going to those classes is a really fun relief for me from some of the other things that I'm like required to take for either general education courses or my other major. And that's just been really fun. And then I ended up in public relations because I knew I always loved writing and wanted to find a career that revolved more around writing than anything else, and communicating. I love to talk. So my joke too is that like both my majors are just me talking. But I ended up in PR because after an experience I had with journalism in high school, I realized that what I liked about the communications realm was kind of how corporations were helping communities. And so I'm definitely really interested in corporate social responsibility. And throughout my years in college, I figured out that that's kind of where I'd like to apply PR. So I entered in not really knowing exactly what my career was going to look like, and more kind of just, okay, I'll graduate with this major. But then what's really important about college is that you don't have to know everything right away. So after about 2-3 years, I really figured out what it was about my major that I liked. I have kind of run with it from there.
Great, thank you. I think that's really good feedback, because I'm not sure juniors are thinking ahead to minors and other areas of interest. And you guys really showcased how that's easily done. If you're interested, you can do different things. So describe a little bit about how your transition was from high school to college, maybe those early months. What was that like for you guys?
I would say that for me, I was definitely looking for ways to get involved as soon as possible because I knew I was a doer. And so even before getting to college, I saw a course that I could sign up for that was like before orientation. So it was before school started, before orientation started, and you would go, and it was this like camp in the woods for 4 days. And I said, okay, great. I'll get adjusted to college with a group of 24. And then from there, I'll get adjusted with my orientation group. And then from there, I'll be into college and it'll be cool. And that was actually so helpful for me to go into like a college of 46,000 students with a group of 24 other first years. And they have, some of them, 2 of them actually have remained my best friends throughout everything. We do everything together. And it was just kind of luck that it ended up working out that way. But looking for smaller pockets of things to join right from the start was really helpful in getting me to branch out later. But it definitely was hard to be away from home and away from my family. But I'd say, like, don't be afraid to make a call home. It doesn't show a sign of weakness. If you need to talk to your family, they want it, you want it. So just talk to your family or friends or whoever that support system is for you. And I think we're all seeing now too that like virtual things are really useful and really available. So you can really keep in contact with whoever it is that you need to and still be able to make a new experience for yourself.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I ended up meeting my best friend at orientation, and I feel like that's not really something that normally happens, that you find that person that's going to be with you the whole entire time at orientation. But between that and on move-in day, just introducing myself, getting to know all the people that lived on my floor. I lived in a co-ed dorm my freshman year, so I got to meet a lot of people, you know, boys and girls, the very first day, which was really awesome. And I would definitely second, like, don't worry about calling home. I personally think I had a pretty unique experience just because my siblings are so much younger than I am. So my sister is in 6th grade at Crossroads North, and my brother is in kindergarten at Cambridge currently. So I definitely made a lot of phone calls home just because I think the transition was almost harder on them than it was on me. But there's always FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry if this goes all over the place, but I think my transition from high school to college, I think I always thought that I was like super happy and everything was good in high school, and it was, but when I got to college, I realized like there was so much more for me to like be happy about and enjoy. And I think I kind of thought I knew who I was and like what I was meant to do, but when I got to college, I started all these leadership positions, and I realized I had like a larger voice than I had in high school. And I think just doing all these things, like I TA for a class, I'm on the student government, and I'm the vice president of my business fraternity, and all of it has allowed me to meet all these different people and like realize that, I don't know, there's just so much that you can like offer a campus, and even if it's in your small little pocket, like people in the science building or whatever, engineering, I don't know, like don't know who I am, but in the business school, I feel like I'm making an impact. And I also just think it's like important to remember. So in high school, you kind of have your like set group of friends, because you start out high school with them, and that's how it continues to the end. But in college, I know we mentioned this, you can always meet new people. And like, if you don't find your group of people freshman year, if you don't find them sophomore year, you can even find them like junior year. Like there's always a chance for you to become a part of a different group and like make new friends. And that comes from all the different things you join. So I think my biggest piece of advice for going from high school to college is join things and like get involved, and you'll meet like people every single year of college.
Yeah, going off of what Rachel said, I think that like going into college, it was like a little daunting because Rutgers, like, or all of our universities are just huge. There's so many students, there's so many things going on, so many different organizations. And like a part of my path, I was very solely focusing on like my major and just like interacting with those people. And like at the same time, while that is like very good because it's helpful for studying, like doing homework and stuff like that, sometimes you do want to kind of like an escape from your major. You just want to relax or do random stuff. And honestly, never in like my like deepest imaginations would I thought I would have joined a social fraternity. And once I did, I recognized how much I enjoyed it, and how like my closest friends are some of the brothers that like are in the fraternity. And so I think my piece of advice is that what Rachel said is to kind of transition from high school to college is just join whatever interests you. It might be a lot, but pick and choose which ones you enjoy, And knowing more people and knowing a lot of people is always like a great thing, because it opens new doors. It allows you to like hang out with whoever you want and kind of find yourself in college. And I think just like joining things is kind of like a great way to transition to university, especially one as large as ours.
If I can also just throw in one more thing. I was just thinking about this, but I can't even tell you the number of times that when I spoke with my mom on the phone or whatever, I said over and over again, wow, South Brunswick like really prepared me for college, especially academically. Like I knew we had a phenomenal high school, but for me, like especially my intro, like Gen Bio, Gen Chem courses, it was a lot of review for me for what I had actually really learned in the AP classes. So I think that also really helped ease my transition in. And like I said, like I always knew we had a great high school. I went to a great school, but when I was experiencing like some of my friends were struggling, this was the first time they'd ever seen this material. And I was like, wow, this is the second or the third time that I've looked at this. That was really awesome and definitely super helpful.
Well, that's very nice to hear. So some of you have already touched a little bit, but if you could elaborate, what advice do you have for, our juniors, our seniors, about college, or even more to that, what advice do you wish you heard from someone prior to, starting at your college?
A piece of advice that I typically like to give is to take people seriously when they offer help, whether that comes from professors or upperclassmen or friends, family. If someone says to you as an underclassman, like, if you need anything, reach out, here's my email, or like, hey, if you want to come get coffee, let me know. Or if your professor says come to office hours, they seriously, genuinely want to help you, and you asking for that help and accepting that offer is not at all a burden on them. It's really what they want to do. I think now being in an upperclassman position, I'm looking to lift up people in the same way that upperclassmen and faculty lifted me up when I needed it. So take people seriously when they offer help, because college is an experience that you're all living together and people want to see you succeed. So just take advantage of that. And then when you get to the point where you feel like you can give back, be that person for someone else.
Something I wanted to bring up was, like, one piece of advice I wish I had was to not let your doubts like stop you from doing anything. Growing up in we had a very competitive high school. It's hard to like feel like, oh, like I'm definitely qualified to apply for this or to do this, especially if you're in a huge school, like you're a little fish in a big school in college. But just know that you're like everyone who you interact with, they all come from different backgrounds and everyone's a different person. So for instance, when I went to my career fair in spring semester my freshman year, I knew I was a freshman in computer science, and I knew it was like very hard for freshmen to even get internships. And I had brought like 5 resumes with me. I was not prepared at all because I did not think I was even going to get an interview with anyone. And I was on my like last resume and handed it to a recruiter. And I was just talking to him about like my passions, the things I've been trying to do in my clubs and design teams to build teamwork, to build my communication skills, build my coding skills. And he really liked it. And he was like, how about we interview tomorrow? And I was absolutely blown away. And I got one interview and I turned it into an internship just within my like freshman year. So even though you have doubts like that and you think, oh, I'm just like a freshman, I can't get a recruiter to look at me, I can't do something similar like that, know that you're your own person and everything you've done and all your hard work counts for something. So just put yourself out there. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let your doubts hold you back at all, because you never know what you can accomplish when you overcome that fear.
You go ahead, Rachel.
Okay, sorry. So kind of building off of that, it's like similar advice but different path. I was gonna, this sounds like cliche, but I was gonna say like don't be afraid almost. And like I mentioned before, like so many things that I do now, I was so afraid to do. Like for example, I knew like social Greek life wasn't for me, so I rushed to business fraternity, and that was like the most terrifying thing ever. You talk to all these people and you know that they're not judging you, but taking account of like who you are every second you're talking to them and whether or not they want you in their fraternity and things like that. And now like looking back, that was like a year ago that I rushed, and I've been in it for a year, and it's like the best decision I've ever made in college. And I was so afraid to do it, but I pushed myself and I did it. And like on top of that, like my TAing position on campus, I was so afraid to be a TA because if a student asked me a question, I had no idea what to answer them. I thought I would look stupid, and I just did it. And now I'm about to be going on my 5th semester of TAing this class, and like I know the material like the back of my hand, and I never would have gotten to this point if I was afraid and didn't do these opportunities and things I was afraid of doing. So yeah, just kind of like push yourself to do things. And I never would have gotten like my internship that I have this summer and next summer without my business fraternity. And I never would have gotten all these teacher recommendations from the professor I TA for if I was afraid and didn't just do it. So if you're afraid, just do it.
The big thing I would say, especially to people who are like juniors in high school right now, is definitely look outside of like your comfort zone of what schools you were planning to apply to. Because I know like when I was in high school, I thought forever, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to UNC Chapel Hill. And my mom is actually the one that when we came down to look at Chapel Hill, we picked just a handful of other schools in the area. Otherwise, I would not have ended up at Clemson. And so I know we already mentioned it. It's hard. You know, we have the virus right now and everything, but take advantage, you know, look online. I know a lot of schools offer virtual tours. Maybe if you just pick a handful of schools that, you know, you've never heard of or you weren't planning on looking at, you might really find a school that you didn't realize you were going to be happy at. And then the other big piece of advice I always give is don't forget to pack a raincoat, because I did, and it rained like all the time my freshman year, and I had to go get a raincoat.
And if anybody has any questions that we didn't cover during this session, feel free to just click on the link at the bottom of the South Brunswick High School Alumni College Panel discussion video. But thank you guys again. Stay safe, be well, and good luck.